Alright, what's up guys? Second Survival here. Welcome back to another Bleach Rebirth of Souls video. Got a bit of a different one for you today. This is a Shunsui guide for all my Shunsui players out there. I have been playing this character quite a bit. I don't know if he's my main or my secondary. He might be second to Renji right now in terms of playtime, but I have been playing this character a lot, so I figured I'd make a bit of a guide for him because he is my favorite character in Bleach, so I figured people would want to know how to play him. So let's just jump right into it. Of course, we're going to talk about his basic strings first. Of course, he's got light, 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 you know, X or square, depending on what you're on, PlayStation or Xbox. So he's got the 3 hitting right there, and then obviously he has the 1 and the 2 hitting versions of that. If you press it 3 times, it is a 4-hit string. So he also has the medium or the flash, Y or triangle, depending on what you're playing on. This can also be pressed twice for a 5-hit kind of knockback string right there. And then he also does have kind of like combinations of the 2 buttons. So he's got like flash light he can do flash light light as well, or he can do flash light flash. So he's got those moves as well. I tend to do either light light flash or flashlight flash. It's usually what I tend to go for depending on the situation. There are some situations we'll talk about a little bit later where you're only able to start with a light attack, so starting with a flash attack doesn't really make any sense. And then we can't forget about his forward flash as well. Very, very good at closing distance. It covers a crazy amount of range, as you can see. But by default, you can't follow up with anything after it. You can't like go straight into light strings or anything like that. You have to either flash step or use reverse meter to combo off of that. But going forward, we have his signature move as well, which is like a chargeable spin. I call it the Beyblade spin because he spins at you like a Beyblade. If you charge it up even like a little bit, you can start moving it, and depending on how much you charge it, you can move it more. So at full charge, you can really head towards their direction and close a lot of distance like that. And then also, if you wanted to, you can move back, you know, if you're wanting to get away from the opponent for whatever reason. And important to note, you can actually combo off of this if you connect with a light attack. So this is one of those situations I was just talking about where you need to land a light. You need to land the Beyblade spin pretty close to them, and then you can follow up with a light attack, and it does actually string together. So in that case, that's where I tend to go into something like light, light, heavy, you know, like that. And important to note, you also don't need to fully charge the Beyblade spin in order to combo off of it. You can't do it if you don't charge it at all. That doesn't combo. But if you like even half charge it, it comes out a little bit faster and you can still combo off of that. You do have to be pretty close though. It obviously doesn't hit as much, you can't control it as much, and it doesn't do as much damage. But just something to know, if they start thinking that you're always going for the full charge, there's no problem in maybe letting it go just a little bit sooner, getting a few extra hits, and then catching them off guard with that as well. All right, let's talk about his spiritual pressure moves. Spiritual pressure move 1 is Bishogama, where he sends this gust of wind towards you and it hits the opponent multiple times. This is probably his main tool in his kit, if I'm being honest. It's really, really strong because for a number of reasons. So if you cast Bishogama, it kind of forces the opponent to think about what you're going to do. They can flash step it if they're, you know, ready for it or something. So you do have to be prepared for them to try to get like a perfect flash on it or something. But it is kind of hard to react to because it speeds up the further you are away. So it starts off pretty slow, but then it actually speeds up to hit the opponent. But importantly, what you can do with Bishogama is dash up behind it and continue attacking like that. And this is one of those instances as well where it needs to be a light attack. Unless you somehow cast Bishogama right in their face, then you can continue with a flash attack. But chances are you're not casting Bishogama like right in the opponent's face like that. and if anything, you're using it as kind of like right here, like a mid tool, a neutral tool. You cast this out, and then you kind of dash up and continue a string like that. But let's say they're blocking it. Let's say Ichigo blocks this right now. You can also dash up and do a grab. So it kind of forces the opponent to think about, okay, what are they going to do? So it's kind of a mind game that you play with the opponent. I will say Shunsui is very much not really a combo character. He spends way too much resources to do his combos. I definitely think just more set play, playing off of Bishogama, the mind games with that, is more important than doing combos with them. And then also, let's say, I did forget to mention, let's say they try to flash step or something when Bishogama comes out, or they let go of block and they're going to start attacking you. You could also just stay back here and start charging the Beyblade spin. You could do that as well. So it's really like, okay, what are they going to do? And you also have to be on top of like, okay, what am I going to do? Is this person trying to rush me down a little bit more, or are they trying to zone me out? Do I want to get closer? Do I want to stay farther? So I would say like a general loop that you can do is like grab into Bishogama, into dash up, something like that, hit him away with Key Cone. If you have more spiritual pressure, you can do that again. This time go for a grab. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can do off of spiritual pressure move 1. It's a very good move. So on to spiritual pressure move 2, we have No Need to Panic. And this move is a lot more situational in terms of its use, especially because it costs 100 spiritual pressure to use. This move teleports you on top of the enemy, does like a big slam, and then a spinning attack that does a lot of damage. It is a very good tool to do damage with Shunsui, but it is very expensive and it's hard to use in combos. We'll kind of go over situations in which you can use it right about now. Actually, let's just do that. So one of the best ways to get use of spiritual pressure move 2 is actually off of a throw. This is one of the ways to get it to combo that does actually work. And then the other way is off of his chain reverse. So if you do a string right into chain reverse and then immediately pop No Need to Panic, you can do that. And he's doing decent amounts of damage too, but you did just use 100 spiritual pressure and your reverse gauge just to do that. So like I said, it is pretty expensive to do. One of the main ways that I end up using this move is in his awakening when we're playing King of the Hill and I want to get the opponent outside of the field. Let's say we're both inside the field of King of the Hill and then I land this. He does so much. He obviously lands on him, attacks him, they go backwards a little bit, and then he ends with like a big knockback. So this is a good move to get opponents out of the ring of the King of the Hill, but it is very expensive. It is pretty hard to use in a combo unless you're using it like after a throw, which is good for good damage. But again, chances are I would rather just use 2 usages of Bishogama rather than 1 usage of No Need to Panic most of the time. All right, so just to go over pre-awakening things that he can only do while in pre-awakening. So as I mentioned before, he can chain reverse after his spiritual pressure move 2. He can always do that. But when he's in pre-awakening, he can actually chain reverse during his spiritual pressure move 2. So you could do something like this, where you go into that, and then you chain reverse during it, right? And then you can finish a combo like that. He can't do this when he's in Awakening for some reason. I'm not sure why. And then you could also, of course, like I mentioned with the Beyblade spin, right? You have time to fully charge it up during a reverse right there. So you can also fully charge his Beyblade spin if you pop a reverse action. And then, of course, with the Beyblade spin, you can combo afterwards. So he cannot fully charge the Beyblade spin after chain reverse while he's in Awakening either. So it's just strange. If you pop chain reverse pre-Awakening, you can fully charge the Beyblade spin. Do that. In Awakening, you can't combo from that at all. I'm not entirely sure why. And then also important note is that pre-Awakening, you can throw straight into Kikonmu with Shunsui. In Awakening, you can't do that for some reason. And I'm guessing that's just to balance him with the games that he's playing, but it does seem weird that in his Awakening he has less combo tools. So if you string a lot of those things together, you can pull off some pretty beefy combos. But again, Shunsui's not really much of a combo character, but before we go into Awakening, I'll just demonstrate a few of the combos that he can do.
I can keep this up forever. I'll give you a send-off. That can't be helped. I don't recommend this. Is there no other way? I don't want to fight. No, I figured. That's enough. As expected. Oh, I see. Maybe it's time we went at it. I told you, didn't I? Is there no other way? Well. Can we call this off? Is there no other way? That's enough. As expected. Well. I don't want to fight. That's enough. Well. Don't you want to win? Your life is mine. What about this? Oh, I see. Then it can't be helped. That's enough. I told you, didn't I? Well. Oh, I see. I'd rather not fight. Not so bad.
All right, so those are just a few of the different combos that you can do with Shunsui. Again, you really shouldn't be spending too many resources on doing combos with Shunsui. He is more of like a set play, kind of cast Bishogama, see what your opponent's going to do, approach like that, or stay back, charge the Beyblade spin. Because for some reason, landing the Beyblade spin does scale the damage of your combo quite a bit. You could see in that combo that I did with 2 Beyblade spins, it did very little damage, and his No Need to Panic is probably his best damage tool. But again, it is pretty expensive, so you kind of have to decide whether or not you want to spend 2 uses of Bishogama on No Need to Panic, or you just want to keep doing the mind games and the set play of Bishogama. Depending on some of the things that we'll get into in his Awakening, that will kind of help me decide if I want to use the 2 of them. But going forward, let's talk about his Awakening. All right, so going into his Awakening here, unfortunately, there's no real good way to demonstrate a lot of the games in training mode because it's just constantly cycling and it's random, and they all are on a set time limit, so it's hard to kind of go over them in the amount of time that the game has. But King of the Hill is probably the most basic one and the most common one that you'll find. And like I said, this is where it spawns this ring. You'll want to get them out of this ring at any cost. So like I said, if you land like a grab into this, you can hit them really, really far away and then make them have to use resources to get back to you, like using a flash step or something like that. If you think that they're going to flash step on you, there's nothing wrong with starting to charge the Beyblade, because even if they teleport behind you and you hit them with the Beyblade spin, you will be able to continue the combo on the opponent because this hits 360 degrees. So that's one of the instances where I would use No Need to Panic a little bit more than Bishogama. But also, if they're like a zoner or something and you're playing King of the Hill, it doesn't hurt to just keep casting like Bishogama at them, let them deal with that. They're going to try to get in close on you, and then the same kind of principle applies where you could go straight into this. You could just interrupt them with an attack. You basically want to be landing or ending everything with Hakugeki to kind of blast them out. Same with ending with flash attack, kind of blast them away too a little bit, and then you're just going to want to be in that field as much as possible. All right, so here we kind of have a tag game. So this will spawn a timer over somebody's head. This is random who it starts with. You'll see that it kind of looks like a cat or something with yellow ears and stuff, and a countdown starting from 20. So no one will take damage during the time limit of this game, but you'll see that the cat starts glowing red the more damage that somebody would be taking. So if Ichigo were to hit me right now, that would be passed over to me, and then when I hit Ichigo, it passes over to him again. Whoever is it by the time that that countdown ends, or if enough damage is taken, whoever's it will take the combined damage of all of the damage that was accumulated over the course of that game. So you can see Ichigo just took 5,490 damage, depending on he being it at the end of the game. So this is where I definitely try to play the Bishogama mind game quite a bit. Like, am I going to keep attacking like that, or am I going to cast this and go up and grab you? So it's really important. I think that is probably the best use of where Bishogama comes into play. This is where I use a lot of grabs most of the time, because grabbing right now, especially on PC, is a little bit hard to counter. Like, look how much damage he just took. It's hard to counter. And then a pro tip for playing tag is if you can time your combos to where tag is about to run out as soon as you're starting your combo, you can do insane amounts of damage. Because let's just say Ichigo took that 6,000 damage that he took right there as I was starting one of my combos that did 40%. That would be a touch of death combo, just because he takes all the damage from the combined game, and then as soon as I start my combo, he takes the combo damage itself. So tag can be an incredible tool. It's probably my favorite game that he can play, because it just has the potential to completely turn the tides of the match. But I do think it's probably his most rare game that you could get. But in general, try to be a little bit more mind gamey. Like, am I going to jump in on you? Am I going to stay back and cast the Shogama? Am I going to charge the Beyblade spin? You know, play with the opponent's brains a lot. This is not the time to just go unga bunga and try to hit him with a bunch of light attacks or a bunch of flash attacks. You might want to, because it's tag and you just want to get that hit off on the person, but you do have 20 whole seconds to play with, so what really matters is being the last person to hit them. And then also, you know, even if you take damage a lot during it, they will take the damage if they're the last one to get hit. So you can let them beat you up, you can let them get in and stuff like that, but then right at the end, make sure that you either grab or play with Bishogama or something like that. There's a lot of different things that you can do during tag. It's probably the most fun one to play for me, but it is the biggest, like, if I win, I'm winning the game, basically, or if I lose, I'm losing the game, because whoever loses takes a lot of damage from it, basically, every single time. All right, let's see if we can get his last game to go over here. It's kind of like a red light, green light game. It is the yellow game. This is kind of like a quick time event. There we go, perfect. So you'll see it kind of loads, and then it'll say, like, let's, well then, get ready, right? And then let the contest begin. So whoever hits an attack after it says let the contest begin gets awarded 50 spiritual pressure. So it's a really good move to accumulate spiritual pressure just for free, but do be warned, if you hit it before it says go, like while it says let's get ready, then the other person will be awarded that 50 spiritual pressure. So you have to wait until it says go in order to land the attack. This one is probably his least important game. I would say it's important against certain characters. Like, don't get me wrong, giving like Bankai Ichigo another 50 spiritual pressure to work with so that he can pop Getsuga Aura more often is a bit problematic, because he's going to loop you forever if he gets that off. So again, it's kind of hard to play around, because while you're in the midst of doing a combo or something and this game pops up, it's kind of hard to control whether or not you hit first or get the other, or if you hit first or if you get hit first. I would say don't really focus too much on it. Obviously, just play the game. It's not like they want you to really stop what you're doing, like everybody just stand still, and then whoever is the first to attack. Like, you can see there's a little bit of delay sometimes too, so it's always different. You never know how long that little delay is going to last before it says like go and you can land the attack. So I honestly wouldn't worry about it too much, but it is a very good tool to get spiritual pressure. And that's one of the instances that I was mentioning earlier where if I win that game, I will maybe throw in a no need to panic every now and then, just because I got that spiritual pressure for free. That helped me accumulate quite a bit of it. And then I feel like I can go into a combo or something like that needs no need to panic. But yeah, I really don't use no need to panic that much, and I don't really focus too much on his yellow game at kind of like red light, green light, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so I think that about covers all the basic stuff with Shunsui here. Hope you found something useful in this video. It is my first time doing a guide, so excuse me if it was a little bit sloppy, but this is still like the first week of the game coming out, so let me know if there's anything that I missed. And just remember, when he's in Awakening, for some reason, he cannot do Key Cone after a throw, right? He can't do that for some reason, even though his attack goes right through them. And then also, he can't chain reverse out of his spiritual pressure move 2 anymore. It only happens afterwards. And then also, while you're in chain reverse in Awakening, you can no longer charge the Beyblade. Even if you half charge it, it still doesn't connect. I don't know why they got rid of those things in Awakening. You would think they would make them stronger, but they got rid of them. So I think it's just because the mental stack of the games on top of that potential might be a little broken, but I really don't think that would have been the case. So but yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Like the video if you found it at all useful. Subscribe to the channel for more Bleach Rebirth of Souls. Catch me live on YouTube and Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and one day during the weekend. But that's about it for the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.